Well, hello YouTube and welcome to the Daily Life. It is Tuesday, October the 8th, 2013, and the topic, as promised from yesterday, that I'm going to be talking about today is phones, specifically cell phones. As I said at the end of the show yesterday, cell phones in particular have become a necessity of life in the Western world. Everybody has one. I just read a study that over 50% of North Americans now actually have a smartphone, which, for those of you who've been living under a rock for the past 20 years, is it's a cell phone that not only can make phone calls, it can go on the internet. You can take pictures, wide range of stuff, apps, everything. Now, I want to divide today up into two kind of pieces. I want to talk about cell phones, like the one that I have here, and I want to talk about landline phones, like the one that I have here. Now, I have both kind of phones in my house. I have a cell phone and a landline phone, and there's a very simple reason for that. I do not care to talk all the time on a little dinky cell phone. Now, lots of people are getting rid of their landline phones, and I'm going to talk about landline phones in a minute. But I want to talk about cell phones for a minute. This is mine. It's a BlackBerry. There's also the other two major cell phone makers are Apple, which is going to be the subject of a talk next week, and the Android operating system, which Samsung, LG, there's different phone manufacturers that use the Android operating system, which is powered by Google. Now that you know the technical aspects of cell phones, I'd like to just comment on people. As I said yesterday, there are right ways and wrong ways to use cell phones. I spoke about public transit yesterday and how people constantly get cell phones wrong on public transit. But people get cell phones wrong every day. You know, for example, here's one that I saw when I was out and about after I taped the show yesterday. I was walking down the street, and there's a person who, I kid you not, was crossing the street like this. And you have to pretend I'm crossing the street. They were texting while they were crossing the street. Now that's dangerous, folks. I don't know why you would want to do that. You know, you're endangering your own life when you do that. You're endangering the lives of other people when you do that. It's not smart, and you shouldn't do it. Now, cell phones are wonderful things. They allow you to do all this stuff. My question is, why? I don't understand why people need to use the internet when they're on a bus in the middle of nowhere. You know, there's a thing called looking out the window and enjoying the scenery. I mean, what happened to that? I mean, you get on a bus these days and all you see is people texting on their phones. You wonder if people have eyes for anybody else. That's what I've noticed about cell phones too, is that the value of people that are actually present physically in front of you seems to be dropping quite dramatically, I've noticed. You know, because people just don't care about people that are around you. You know, I've asked questions of people on the street, and they've actually not heard me because they were too engulfed in their little online world in their cell phone. You know, I don't profess to know why, but they are. Now, here's one of the parts where I need to just stop for a second and collect my thoughts because I've run out of things to say about cell phones. So maybe I'll go on to landline phones. I guess that's what I'll do. Landline phones are much less popular than cell phones these days. Fewer and fewer North Americans have landline phones, and fewer people use them. They are still widely used, and I think one of the reasons why people don't use regular old-fashioned telephones anymore is because of telemarketers. Now, I live in an area where telemarketing is not as common as it is in some parts of the world, but I do know that there are some people out there who live in parts of the world where telemarketing is a problem. Now, I say problem, it's not really a problem. It's something that, yes, it's annoying. Yes, they call it dinner. I used to work in the telemarketing industry, and I cannot tell you how many times people say, "Do you know it's dinner? Do you know it's 6 o'clock?" Yes, I'm aware of the time. Unlike you, I'm sober right now. Okay? It's Friday night at 6 o'clock, and I'm at work, and you're drinking. That's nice for you, but I was at work. Anyway. So yes, I know it's dinner time. But telemarketing, the reason that people call then is because that is when people are home. You know, would you rather me call you at 11 o'clock at night when you're watching news or otherwise adult entertainment on the television? No. I really don't think so. You want me to call you, you'd rather probably call it at dinner. And the telemarketing serves useful functions. Public opinion surveys come from telemarketing, and telemarketers do sell useful products. So there's my plug for telemarketers, having used to have worked in that industry. But as I said, most people find it as annoyance, and so they are getting rid of their landline phones en masse because it is much easier to use one of these phones, landline phone, as a telemarketing tool than it is to these ones, because I don't know where you live in the world, but where I live it's illegal to use automatic dialers on cell phones. So people get rid of their landline phones and switch to cell phones. So most people that use landline phones now are businesses and older generations. Older generations like landline phones, and they know how to use them. And the problem is that younger generations who grew up with the cell phone world, they don't know how to use landline phones. My generation doesn't have a clue how to have a conversation on the phone because they don't do it. Now I do it. You've seen I've got lots of landline phones around in my house here, but most people don't, and so they don't know how. Like I've actually heard stories of people who have lost jobs. They got a call from their prospective employer to have a phone interview, and they've lost the job because they don't know how to converse on the phone. It's a skill like any other, people. You have to practice it. And if you're texting and on Facebook all the time, you're not going to be able to do it. Now, texting and Facebook are great. I use Facebook, but you got to call more. It's as simple as that. You got to pick up the phone, dial in 10 numbers, and make a phone call. But I realize that the times are changing and that people don't want to do that anymore, so they use cell phones, which is fine. You know, as I said, it's a free country. I don't want to tell people how to live their lives. I just think that when it comes to your job, it might be a good idea. What else can I say about phones? Lots of good stuff to say. Why 7 numbers? There's a question. Who decided on that? I mean, why not 10 numbers? I mean, there is 10 numbers now because of an area code, but why 7 numbers? Ponder that the next time you're making a phone call. Why do I have to dial 7 numbers? And it's a good question. Maybe you write your member of parliament, your member of Congress, and ask them. See if they know. They probably don't, because nobody frankly cares. But these are the sorts of insights that you'll only find when you watch Daily Life. Unique perspectives on the world that you would have never thought had you not taken the time to sit down and YouTube Daily Life and watch my channel, because these shows are so informative. And they're not really informative. They're meant to be entertaining. You can take that from everyone. Anyway, yeah. Why 7 numbers? I don't know. I guess somebody thought it's good. How come you can use your phone during a power outage? Don't know. Ask your elected official if they know, because I don't. I'm sorry, I don't have the answers to everything. Anyway, that's about enough. I got the time better because we're coming up on 10 minutes, and I managed to fill 10 minutes without going on. I can tell you that tomorrow's topic, just consulting my list, tomorrow's topic, very interesting topic, will be standing in line. You don't want to miss that, so tune in tomorrow for another episode of daily life. I'm your host, signing out.